Can't afford to take a loss. Supastition and my man Kost. Life is like a gamble. You gotta do what you gotta do to survive nowadays. Well,
I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny.
Life is like a dice roll, a flip of the coin. Sometimes it'll treat you ice cold when it disappoints, but that's the cycle when life goes. Sacrifices might make you psycho. In a room gripping a rifle with your eyes closed. I gotta get bread, fix my credit and then some. Your faith is shaking, we're making no steady income. Praying for savings and blessings already been done. I promise I'll learn my lesson, just let me win one. Confidence shattered, they say money don't matter. I'm standing at a 20-foot wall with a 10-foot ladder, emphatically driven to do more than just live and survive. I'm using God's gift, but never seen a ribbon in the sky. Good luck and good fortune for me didn't apply. Some nights I feel like I was better off just living a lie. I'm passionate with my poetry, when I focus I lean on that. But even rapping becomes a game of casino craps.
I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny.
Fashion snapback, occipital sports bill. Out the backpack, pivotal tours yield abstract, difficult ordeals. Place your faith in the hands of God to be uplifted with the Lord's will. Cause when life gets difficult, treat it like wiping a knife with dish soap. Half the slice in the white bitches thrown in typical film. Keep your close friends at a distance so they can know how the tip of a sword feel. My vision became more clear than invisible force fields when I got my feel for a matic. Dealing with an addiction, my addiction is more than spilling prescriptions on the floor in front of 4 pill addicts. Nowadays, most of my pill-torn cabbage goes largely to unpaid debts. Cause when you a starving artist exhaling Buenos Aires, that shit hardly pays sense. Yeah, I could hardly pay rent. Yeah, it's Supastition, Kost, and all we KS stay sharper than army bayonets.
I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics.
Superstition, what up? Your boy Reks, yo. Yo, the rules of this roulette wheel will get real as the third stone circle still. How to win still, better skills. And my time's 2 legacy, so there'll be a better me. Prepare for the memory, gambling tendency on how to raise seeds. Sowing wisdom, knowledge don't grow on trees. Even though the power do that green, not the power you. Women who entice powerful with the dollar foes control. It's logical to chase after cash and chase after ass, but not chase truth behind masks that disguise snake eyes. Play the game, realize blowing on dice don't get you lives. Supreme wishes, a dream to just in one row. Grip a whole load to go. You gotta know fantasies are yellow bricks, real world embellishes. Snap out the lie on this high stake fellowship. Word.
I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to rip off mics. I like to rip off mics and clock up dice that roll funny. I like to